The rain was biblical. My neighbor, a pregnant woman, had her water break, and I was the one driving her to the hospital through a hurricane, risking my own life to do it. When she got out of the hospital, she turned around and reported me for harassment, claiming my eyes were always drifting to places they shouldn't have been. My appeal went nowhere. The rideshare platform permanently deactivated my account, and a DMV revoked my license. She bragged about it in our neighborhood Facebook group. He couldn't even keep his hands to himself during a ride like that. Sleazeballs like him deserve to be canceled. A month later, her baby was burning up with a fever, convulsing. A new hurricane was tearing through the city, and she couldn't get a car. She started ramming her head against my apartment door, begging me to drive them. I kept my headphones on, deep in a video game. License is revoked, and the app banned me. I said loud enough for her to hear. Driving without a license gets you arrested. You'd better keep trying to get an Uber. One faster. Please go faster. I don't think I can hold on. The woman in the back seat wouldn't stop moaning. My name is Ethan Miller. I'm a rideshare driver. It was 2 a.m., and Hurricane Hector was making landfall in Miami. The floodwaters were already halfway up my tires, and I could barely see 15 feet in front of me. My knuckles were white on the steering wheel, my eyes locked on the road ahead. In 3 years of driving for the app, I'd never seen conditions this bad. The passenger was my neighbor, Chloe Carter. 15 minutes earlier, her husband, Ryan, had just about broken down my door. He said his wife's water broke, 911 was swamped, no Ubers were available, and he was begging me to save her life. I saw Chloe leaning against the doorframe, her face as white as a sheet. She clutched her swollen belly, a steady stream of water dripping from the hem of her dress. I didn't have time to think. Her husband and I practically carried her to my car. On the way, Chloe's cries from the back seat grew more agonizing. It hurt so much. I can't take it. My own stomach was in knots. I pressed the accelerator harder. Almost there, hang on, I shouted over the storm. Trust me, I'll get you there safely. I kept trying to reassure her, glancing in the rearview mirror to check on her. Sir, can you please not look at me? Your eyes, they're giving me the creeps. Chloe's voice was broken, choked with tears. My heart sank. I explained immediately. Ms. Carter, the rain is a sheet of glass. I have to use the rear view to watch the road conditions behind us. The hospital was just ahead. I pushed the car faster. After running 2 red lights, I screeched to a halt at the emergency room entrance. Nurses and medics rushed out with a gurney and loaded Chloe onto it. Ryan grabbed my hand, shaking it furiously. Thank you so much. You're a lifesaver. Our family's hero. As soon as my wife is okay, we'll thank you properly. I waved him off, exhausted. Don't worry about it. We're neighbors. Go be with her. I watched them disappear into the ER and let out a long breath. Back in my car, the back seat was a mess of amniotic fluid and blood. I sighed, started the engine, and vanished back into the storm. The next day, I slept until noon. I woke up to a red flag notification on my phone from the rideshare platform. Dear Ethan Miller, due to a formal complaint filed by a passenger alleging severe harassment, which caused the passenger extreme psychological trauma, your account has been reviewed. The platform has decided, effective immediately, to permanently deactivate your account and terminate your operating privileges. Permanently deactivated. My mind went blank. Harassment? Psychological trauma? My first thought was Chloe. I immediately opened the appeal channel and uploaded the entire dashcam video from last night. The video captured every word of our conversation and showed the road conditions every time I glanced at the rearview mirror. An hour later, the platform replied, Dear Ethan Miller, after a thorough review, we have concluded that we must prioritize the passenger's subjective experience. Regardless of your intent, your actions cause the passenger significant discomfort. To protect our passengers and maintain the platform's reputation, we are upholding our original decision. Upholding the decision. I called Chloe's husband, Ryan. The second he picked up, I yelled into the phone, Ryan, what the hell is wrong with you two? Chloe reported me for harassment. I risked my life to get her to the hospital, and this is how you repay me? There was a pause on the other end before Ryan's voice came through, calm and collected. Ethan, calm down. Chloe just gave birth. Her emotions are all over the place. She said you were staring at her the whole way. Now, every time she closes her eyes, she sees you looking at her. She's terrified. She can't sleep. The doctor said she might have postpartum depression. You need to stop upsetting her. Postpartum depression? And that's her excuse to ruin my life. The dashcam recorded everything. Can a dashcam record the look in your eyes? Ryan shot back. Ethan, we're neighbors. Just let it go. You're just a driver, right? Switch to Lyft or something. It's not a big deal. Why make a scene and make things ugly for everyone? Chloe's a new mother. She's been through enough. With that, he hung up. I called the platform's support line again and again, only to get the same robotic responses. Sir, we respect the passenger's experience. Sir, the final ruling cannot be changed. Sir, please do not call again regarding this matter. At 10 that night, my doorbell rang. I opened it to find a woman with immaculate makeup, flanked by two men holding professional-grade cameras. She extended a hand. Hello, Mr. Miller. I'm Sharon Croft, host of the Croft Report. Chloe Carter reached out to our show. Sharon Croft's smile was laced with pity. She told us she experienced something truly horrifying. A rideshare driver, during her most vulnerable moment, sexually harassed her. And afterward, this driver showed no remorse and even called to threaten her. Mr. Miller, Chloe is on the verge of a complete mental breakdown because of this. The stress is affecting her ability to produce milk, which could harm her baby's health in the long run. As a man, don't you feel even a shred of guilt? The red recording light on the camera was pointed right at me. I didn't do it. I never harassed her. She's lying. I screamed. I have a witness. Her husband was in the car. I have the dashcam footage. Sharon Croft pushed her glasses up her nose. A witness? Her husband will only speak for her. The dashcam footage? We've seen it. In the video, your eyes glanced at Ms. Carter in the rearview mirror at least 12 times. 12 times. The number stunned me. I was watching the road. In that weather, looking 120 times would have been normal. Mr. Miller, we're not the police. We believe in tears. Ms. Carter is a victim, a new mother. And you are a strong, able-bodied man. All she wants is an apology to help her move on from this nightmare. Why is something so simple so difficult for you? Or was your driving gig more important than a new mother's mental health? They weren't here to mediate. They were here to pass judgment. Get out, I roared. Get the hell out of my apartment. I slammed the door, shutting out their cameras and their condescending stares. I slid down against the door, my body slumping to the floor. The next day, Sharon Croft's video went viral. The title was, Citywide Flooding, Rideshare Driver Harasses Woman in Labor. Shows no remorse. Where is the humanity? In the video, Chloe lay in a hospital bed, tearfully recounting my crimes. I was about to give birth. I was in so much pain, so helpless, his eyes. It was like he was devouring me. I still can't forget it. I was too scared to fight back. I was afraid he'd get angry and just dump us on the side of the road. All I wanted was an apology. Why is that so hard? The video ended with Ryan holding their newborn baby. My wife's mental state is a wreck, and it's all because of that driver. We don't want money. We just want a sincere apology. The comments section blew up. This scumbag should be locked up. Getting banned is too good for him. My heart breaks for this new mom, having to deal with this after giving birth. Go, Sharon Croft. Get justice for this woman. Dox him. Post his address. Let's cancel this creep for good. My phone started ringing off the hook. My name, my social security info, my home address. It was all leaked online. Countless unknown numbers sent me death threats and curses. 3 on the 3rd day of the media firestorm, I got a call from the DMV. They told me to come in. A middle-aged officer met me. Ethan Miller, right? Yes. We've received numerous public complaints regarding your driving on the morning of August 12th. After reviewing traffic camera footage and data, we've determined that you committed multiple serious traffic violations that night, including driving over 50% above the speed limit, 3 illegal lane changes, and running 2 red lights. I tried to explain. Officer, it was an emergency. I was taking a woman in labor to the hospital. I know, the officer interrupted, but an emergency doesn't give you the right to endanger public safety. Your actions pose a significant risk to other drivers and pedestrians on the road. Furthermore, he paused. The person you're transporting does not corroborate your claim of a medical emergency justifying your actions. In fact, she also filed a complaint with us. accusing you of reckless driving that terrified her and her unborn child. Chloe, she reported me to them, too. In accordance with the state of Florida traffic safety laws, and taking into account the severe negative public impact of this incident, the officer picked up a stamp and brought it down hard on the document. We have decided to revoke your driver's license. You may not reapply for a new one for 2 years. My license revoked. My livelihood was officially gone. As I walked out of the DMV, my phone buzzed. It was a notification from the neighborhood Facebook group. I opened it. It was Chloe. She had posted a picture of the DMV's official revocation order. Chloe Carter, thanks for all the support, everyone. And a huge thank you to Sharon Croft and all the people online who stood by me. Karma finally caught up with him. Justice may be slow, but it always arrives. The group chat exploded. Neighbor A, congrats, Chloe. That scumbag got what he deserved. Neighbor B, this is fantastic news. Let's see him act so high and mighty now. Neighbor C at Chloe Carter, you're a hero to all of us. Thank you for standing up to predators. Then, Chloe posted a voice message. Her tone was triumphant. He couldn't even keep his hands to himself during a ride like that. Sleazeballs like him deserve to be canceled. His license got revoked. Now he can't hurt anyone else. This is a day for celebration. I deleted the reply I was typing and left the group. I put my phone on silent and tossed it aside. The next day, Sharon Croft aired a follow-up story. The headline read, Victory for Justice. Predatory driver's license revoked. Victim finally vindicated. In the segment, she interviewed Chloe, who is now home. Cradling her baby, Chloe smiled for the camera. I hope my experience serves as a warning to all women. When you face harassment, don't be afraid. You must stand up and speak out. She had successfully painted herself as a warrior for justice. And I was the monster she had slain, my head now mounted on the wall for all to see. For I had lost my job, my only source of income. My savings evaporated after paying rent and bills. Whenever I left my apartment, I could feel the hostile stares of my neighbors. One day in the elevator, a woman saw me, grabbed her grandson, and pulled him into the corner. She muttered just loud enough for me to hear. Sweetie, stay away from him. That man has a black heart. Being near him is bad luck. So disgusting. I started having sleepless nights, spending my days playing video games to numb the pain. Then, another hurricane hit. The new one, Hurricane Iris, was even more ferocious than Hector. The whole city shut down. Work, school, public transit, all suspended. The rideshare apps had stopped dispatching cars. I had my headphones on, lost in a firefight in my game. Suddenly, a frantic bang, 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 echoed through my apartment. I pulled off my headphones and heard hysterical crying. It was Chloe's voice, raw and desperate. Ethan, open the door. Please, open the door. Help me. My son is dying. I looked through the peephole. Chloe was a wreck, her hair wild, clothes soaked, ramming her body against my door. Ethan, I'm begging you. You have to take my son to the hospital. He has a high fever. He's having a seizure. He can't breathe. Her voice was hoarse. I didn't move. I didn't make a sound. Bam! Chloe started kicking the door. Ethan, please. My son is going to die. You son of a bitch. Get out here. He's convulsing. Are you even human? If you let him die, I swear I'll curse your whole family. You'll be a murderer. Her pleas turned to curses. A life was fading away just outside my door. My hands clenched into fists against my will. But then I remembered the platform's deactivation notice. The DMV's revocation order. I remembered Sharon Croft's video and Chloe's smug, tear-streaked face. I remembered her victory lap in the Facebook group. Sleazeballs like him deserve to be canceled. And for what? You drag my name through the mud, destroy my life, and now you have the nerve to demand I play the hero? Why should I save you? I'm not your goddamn dog. Outside, Chloe's cries continued. Ethan, please. I was wrong. I'm a horrible person. I am garbage. I shouldn't have reported you. I shouldn't have ruined you. I'll get on my knees for you. My son is only a few months old. He can't die. I'll be your slave for life. Thud, thud, thud. She started hitting the door with her head. I took a deep breath. And through the door, I said calmly, my license is revoked, and the app banned me. Driving without a license is a crime. You should call Sharon Croft. Maybe she can get you an Uber. The moment I finished speaking, the banging and crying stopped. A few seconds later, A piercing scream cut through the hallway. Ah! It was followed by the sound of her husband, Ryan, pounding on the door with even more fury. Ethan, you motherfucking bastard. Open this door. You let him die. You animal. If my son dies, I'll kill your whole family. You're a murderer. I ignored them, walked back to my room, and turned the volume on my game up louder. I don't know how much time passed, but eventually I heard hurried footsteps and the rattling of a gurney in the hall. The paramedics had arrived. I heard them working, heard a doctor shouting orders. After another 10 minutes, the chaos outside quieted down. I heard the gurney being wheeled away, followed by the sound of Chloe and Ryan sobbing as they followed it. The world was finally quiet. I walked to my window and watched the ambulance race away, its lights swallowed by the night. I felt nothing. You were the ones who blocked your own child's only way out. The next day, the property manager called. He hesitated. Mr. Miller, are you home? The police are here. They'd like to ask you a few questions. Last night, Ms. Carter's baby, it's not good. They filed a police report, said you deliberately delayed medical assistance. I replied, tell them to come up. Half an hour later, 2 police officers were at my door. Standing behind them was Ryan, his eyes bloodshot and swollen. The moment he saw me, he lunged. Ethan, you give me back my son. You murderer. The officers barely managed to hold him back. I looked him straight in the eye and asked, what law did I break? You're a driver. You have a car. You were home. Why didn't you help? Ryan screamed, his face contorted with rage. I'm not a driver, I said, holding up a copy of the revocation order. My operating privileges were permanently terminated because of your complaint. I held up another document. And my driver's license was revoked because of your complaint. If I had driven, it would have been illegal. I would have been arrested. I looked at the officers and spoke, my voice steady. They're the ones who made it illegal for me to drive. And now they're blaming me for not driving. Officers, I have to ask, does that make any sense to you? The 2 officers exchanged a look, silent. Ryan was still yelling. You could have called 911. You could have called earlier. Why should I have called? I asked. Who am I to him? I have no legal guardianship. You were the ones who saw he was in danger. Calling for an ambulance is the most basic responsibility of a parent. You spent your time trying to break down my door instead of calling 911 immediately. And now that something has happened to your child, it's my fault? Ryan froze, speechless. In the end, the police just took a statement and left. As he was leaving, the older officer put a hand on my shoulder. Son, I'm sorry you went through this. Legally, you're not responsible for any of it. I shut the door. 6 that night, the journalist, Sharon Croft, released another video. The title, Cold-Blooded Neighbor Refuses TO, Save Seizing Infant. IS at Revenge, or a complete lack of humanity. In the footage, Chloe lay in a hospital bed, her face ashen. She sobbed into the camera. I begged him. I got on my knees and begged him. I banged my head on his door. I told him I was wrong. I was just trying to save my baby. He was right there on the other side of the door, listening to me plead. And he did nothing. He's a monster. He's a murderer. Ryan stood beside her, holding an incubator containing their son. The baby was hooked up to a mess of tubes. Ryan's jaw was tight, his eyes cold as ice. The doctor said because of the delay, my son's brain was severely deprived of oxygen. Even if he survives, he'll likely be in a vegetative state. It's all his fault, because of Ethan Miller's need for revenge. He destroyed my child. He destroyed my family. At the end of the video, Sharon Croft appeared again. Why should an innocent baby have to pay the price for a feud between adults? We admit Ms. Carter's previous complaint may have been handled imperfectly. But when faced with a dying life, any act of revenge is an unforgivable sin. This time, we are forced to ask, when the law cannot punish such moral decay, what hope do we have left? The video set off another firestorm online. But in the comments, the tide had turned. It was no longer a one-sided mob attack against me. Okay, the pregnant lady was out of line before, but this driver is ice cold. It was a baby. I'm the driver. You stab a guy and then expect him to hand you a Band-Aid with a smile? Stop with the moral grandstanding. The key point is his license was revoked. How was he supposed to help? By breaking the law? He could have called 911. It takes 2 seconds. Why was it his job to call? Didn't the parents have phones? Freaking helpless. The internet was at war. My phone rang constantly. But this time, mixed in with the hate were messages of support. For a moment, I thought, maybe this is enough. I lost my job, my license, but I got my revenge. Their child would be their punishment for the rest of their lives. That seemed like enough. But the next day, a certified letter arrived and changed everything. It was from a law firm on behalf of Chloe and Ryan Carter. They were officially suing me. The charge was intentional inaction leading to grievous bodily harm. They were demanding $8 million in damages. $8 million. They didn't just want to ruin my reputation. They wanted to bankrupt me for life. I looked at the legal papers and I started to laugh. Fine. This is fine. If you refuse to let this go, then let's settle the score. For everything. With interest. 7. I didn't hire a lawyer. My savings were so low, I could barely afford next month's rent. I started gathering my own evidence. I watched the dashcam footage from that night over and over again. I had to find a crack in their story. Once, twice, 10 times, 100 times. At 3 a.m., my eyes were bloodshot as I stared at the screen. In the video, Chloe was moaning in pain. Every time I checked the rearview mirror, it corresponded with a check of the road conditions. It was airtight. Was I really going to lose? Just as I was about to give up, I noticed a detail I'd overlooked. Ryan, from the moment he got in the car until he got out, he almost never looked at his wife, who was supposedly on the verge of death. Most of the time, he was looking down at his phone. When he did look up, it wasn't at Chloe. It was at me in a rearview mirror. His expression was strange. It felt less like concern and more like an appraisal. I cranked the video's audio to the maximum. The background was filled with the roar of the storm and Chloe's moans. But right as we were approaching the hospital, as I slowed down to make a turn, the sound of the wind died down for a second. And I caught it, an extremely faint whisper from Ryan. He was talking to Chloe. Remember that look? Just say he kept staring at you. A chill ran down my spine. It wasn't postpartum depression. It wasn't her being overly sensitive. This was a premeditated, cold-blooded setup. I immediately thought of Sharon Crofts 12 times. She had stated it so precisely. Too precisely for a woman in the throes of labor to have counted. Unless there was someone else in the car, calmly, methodically, keeping a tally. That someone was Ryan. I took the video file to a friend who does audio engineering. He helped me isolate and amplify the audio, cutting out the background noise. Ryan's voice came through, crystal clear. Later, just say he was being a creep. That his eyes were all over you on the way. Remember that look. Say he kept staring, that it scared you. Cry a lot. You're the pregnant one. They'll believe you. With that audio file, I knew I had a fighting chance. But I didn't release it yet. It wasn't enough. I didn't just want to win. I wanted to burn them to the ground. I started investigating the reporter, Sharon Croft. I searched online for past episodes of the Croft Report. I found a pattern. Every one of her viral hits had a perfect victim and an irredeemable villain. The victims were always the vulnerable, women, children, the elderly. The villains were always the powerful, men, bosses, authority figures. The narrative was simple, designed for maximum emotional impact. I went to a few legal forums and anonymously posted links to some of Sharon's most famous cases, asking if any of the accused parties were there. A few days later, I got a reply. I'm the abusive boss who tortured his intern from her story 3 years ago. Her video bankrupted my company and destroyed my family. I was cyberbullied so badly I attempted suicide. They saved me. I have the full, unedited recordings of her interview. It proves she took my words out of context and maliciously edited them. If you can help me, I am willing to testify in court. When I saw that message, I knew I had my second weapon. I contacted him and got all of his evidence. Now, I needed the final piece. Ryan, why did he do it? Was it just to get back at me for some unknown reason? Impossible. When they set me up, we had no history. There had to be a bigger motive. I started paying attention to the neighborhood gossip about the Carters. Someone mentioned Ryan had a brand new car. Someone else saw Chloe showing off a new designer handbag on her Instagram. While I was being crucified online, broke and jobless, they were celebrating. A thought clicked in my head. Money. They did all of this for money. But where did the money come from? I suddenly remembered what Ryan had said to me on the phone. You're just a driver, right? Switch to another app. Why make a scene? It was almost as if he knew my appeal to the platform would fail. Unless that was the result he wanted. He needed the platform to uphold the ban, to officially brand me a harasser. And then what? Then, they could sue the rideshare company for negligent hiring of a dangerous driver, resulting in severe emotional distress, and demand a massive payout. The realization hit me like a ton of bricks. If I was right, this wasn't just slander. It was an elaborate insurance scam, a multi-million-dollar shakedown targeting the rideshare platform. I told my theory to the ex-boss who was willing to help me. He was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "I have a friend who works in the legal department at that rideshare company. I can make a call for you." 3 days later, he called back. "You were right. A month ago, Chloe and Ryan Carter's lawyers sent a letter to the platform. They're demanding $12 million in damages. The evidence they're using is Sharon Croft's video and the public notice of your permanent deactivation. The company's legal team is still evaluating it. Because the public pressure is so intense, they were actually considering settling out of court. $12 million. One appetite. So that's all I was. A pawn. A tool they used to try and get rich. They destroyed my job, my reputation, my life. Also, they could buy a new car and new handbag. I leaned back in my chair and closed my eyes. Chloe, Ryan, Sharon, your judgment day has arrived. On the day of the trial, I, the defendant, was the first one there. Chloe and Ryan arrived later, flanked by Sharon Croft and her camera crew. They were all smiles, looking confident. Ryan was wearing an expensive suit. Chloe had on a full face of makeup. If it weren't for the weariness in her eyes, you'd never guess she was a mother who had just been through a tragedy. Sharon's cameras were rolling from the moment they stepped out of their car. She was there to document this historic moment of good triumphing over evil. At the courthouse entrance, camera flashes went off like a fireworks show. Ryan spoke to the reporters. "We're here today, not for the $8 million. We're here to get justice for every family that has been hurt by cold-hearted people like him. We're here for our child to ask society, where is the bottom line for human decency?" Chloe stood beside him, covering her face and crying on cue. Sharon's team captured the whole performance perfectly. I watched them, a cold smile on my face. The trial began. Their lawyer presented the expertly produced video from the Croft report. On screen, I was portrayed as cold, aggressive, and remorseless. Chloe was depicted as a helpless, terrified victim. The lawyer addressed the court. "Your Honor, members of the jury, the facts are clear. The defendant, Ethan Miller, when faced with an infant in critical condition, chose to do nothing, all because of a personal grudge. His inaction directly led to the infant suffering irreversible brain damage due to a delay in treatment. This is no longer a simple moral failing. This constitui de facto aggravate da assault." He finished and shot me a triumphant look. Then it was my turn. I locked my eyes on Chloe and Ryan. "I have just a few questions. First, whose complaint got my driver's license revoked? Second, whose complaint got me permanently banned from the platform? And third, is it not a crime for an ordinary citizen, with no license and no commercial operating privileges, to drive someone during a hurricane?" With every question, the color drained from their faces. "You took away my legal ability and my tools to help you, and now you stand here and condemn me for not helping. Please explain the logic to me." The courtroom fell silent. Their lawyer, clearly caught off guard, was speechless. I wasn't finished. "Next, I would like the court to play an audio recording." I produced the flash drive. When Ryan's voice, "Remember that look? Just say he kept staring at you," filled the courtroom, Chloe's body jolted. All the blood drained from Ryan's face. "That's fake. It's fabricated. It's AI," he shrieked. "Your Honor." "I object," their lawyer yelled, jumping to his feet. "This is slander against my clients." The judge banged his gavel. "Silence. The court will have the audio's authenticity verified by an independent expert." I looked at them. "Mr. Carter, why are you so agitated? Are you afraid people will find out that the so-called harassment was nothing more than a performance you and your wife directed from the very beginning? Are you afraid they'll find out why you put on that performance?" I turned to the judge. "I request permission to call my first witness to the stand." The courtroom doors opened. The man who walked and made Sharon Croft's face turn ghostly white. It was the ex-boss she had driven into bankruptcy. He took the witness stand and presented his evidence. Unedited audio recordings played back-to-back with the heavily edited broadcast versions. Legal documents proving his company's innocence. He calmly recounted how Sharon Croft and her team used malicious editing leading questions, and online mob incitement to frame him as a monster and destroy his life. His testimony sent a shockwave through the courtroom. The reporters in the gallery, sensing a much bigger story, turned their cameras away from the Carters and onto the pale, trembling Sharon Croft. Her lawyer tried to object. "This has nothing to do with the current case." "It has everything to do with it," I said, standing up, "because Ms. Croft used the exact same methods to produce the video about me. She deleted every part of the interview where I tried to explain myself, leaving only the sound of me yelling after being provoked. She cut out the part where I offered the dashcam footage as evidence, while her voiceover claimed I showed no remorse. She is not a journalist. She is a storyteller who manufactures narratives for clicks, no matter the cost." The damage she did to my reputation was the most critical part of Chloe and Ryan Carter's entire extortion scheme. Extortion. The word hung in the air, and the courtroom erupted in murmurs. Ryan lost control again. "You're lying through your teeth." I ignored him and addressed the judge. "I request permission to call my second witness, Mr. Lee, the head of the legal department for the rideshare platform." When the company's lawyer took the stand and presented the official letter from the Carter's attorney, demanding a settlement of $12 million, the entire conspiracy was laid bare for the world to see. The so-called harassment, the postpartum depression, the psychological trauma, it was all just a negotiation tactic. I, a hardworking driver, was just collateral damage in their get-rich-quick scheme. The judge banged his gavel, announced a recess, and set a date for a new hearing. 9 during the recess, things moved faster than I could have imagined. The audio recording was authenticated by a forensics lab. It was confirmed to be genuine, with no signs of tampering. The evidence of Sharon Croft's fraud against the ex-boss was leaked to the press. The Croft Report, once a celebrated crusader for justice, was now synonymous with fake news. The network, facing immense public pressure, announced the show was permanently canceled and that an internal investigation was being launched into Sharon Croft. She was fired, from a respected journalist to a national pariah overnight. The comment sections of her old videos were flooded with angry viewers. "Liar. I cried for these people. I spent a month hating that driver because of you. Disgusting. You preyed on our compassion. Reporters like you should be banned from the industry. I feel so bad for that driver and the other guy she bankrupted. I hope you both sue her into oblivion." The rideshare platform immediately issued a public statement. In it, they offered me their sincerest apologies, admitting their initial judgment was swayed by malicious complaint and false media reports. They announced the immediate reactivation of my account and offered to compensate me for my losses. Next, the DMV released its own bulletin. Given that Ethan Miller's traffic violations occurred during a medical emergency to save a woman in labor, and that this act of necessity was later proven to have been maliciously reported by the beneficiary, the department was reversing its decision. The order to revoke my driver's license was officially rescinded. My license was back. My name was cleared. My phone blew up with messages from friends congratulating me. The neighbors who had defended me in the Facebook group were all tagging me, cheering me on. Yes, I knew karma would get them. "Ethan, you're a legend. You took them all down by yourself. When are you moving back? We should throw you a welcome home party." I read the messages, my eyes getting a little misty. I replied to the group, "Thank you, everyone." Then I left all the group chats. I sent a large sum of money to the ex-boss who had helped me. He refused it. He said, "This was our victory. Your courage helped me get my justice, too." Next week, I'm officially filing my lawsuit against Sharon Croft and the network. I'm demanding they compensate me for all my losses and issue a public apology. I knew his fight for justice was just beginning. The day of the second hearing arrived quickly. This time, there were no reporters or flashing cameras at the courthouse. Sharon Croft didn't show up. Her lawyer said she had suffered a complete nervous breakdown from the public backlash and was hospitalized. Chloe and Ryan were there. They looked like all the life had been drained out of them. The trial was a formality. I had filed a countersuit for defamation, malicious prosecution, and intentional infliction of emotional distress against Chloe and Ryan Carter. I demanded $1.5 million in damages for lost income, reputational harm, and mental anguish. The judge asked them how they pleaded. Ryan stared at the floor, silent. But Chloe suddenly looked up at me and laughed. "Ethan, You think you've won, don't you? She slowly got to her feet, pointing a trembling finger at me. Let me tell you something you haven't. You destroyed my family. You destroyed my life. You think getting your license and your stupid job back makes up for it? I will never let you have peace. I will haunt you from my grave. She completely lost it, screaming and cursing at me, at Ryan, at the judge. It's all your fault. You all did this to me. My son is lying in a hospital bed. He's dying. Are you happy now? A bailiff tried to restrain her, but she shoved him away. She lunged at me like a wild animal. I'll take you down with me. Just as her nails were about to claw my face, Ryan moved. He shoved her violently to the floor. You crazy bitch. Haven't you ruined our lives enough? He screamed, kicking her while she was down. This is all on you. If it wasn't for your greedy idea to fake a harassment claim, none of this would have happened. You useless psycho bitch. The courtroom erupted into chaos as the bailiffs rushed in to separate the brawling couple. The final verdict came down. The court found Chloe and Ryan Carter guilty of fabricating evidence, filing malicious reports, and using the media to spread false information to defame and prosecute me. The severity and social impact were deemed extreme. The sentence was threefold. First, they were ordered to publish a formal apology in the media and on all social platforms, clarifying the facts and restoring my reputation for 30 consecutive days. Second, they were jointly ordered to pay me $1.5 million in compensatory and punitive damages. Third, because their actions constituted criminal defamation and the moment the gavel fell, Chloe and Ryan both collapsed. As for Sharon Croft, her fate wasn't much better. The network terminated her contract and sued her for the massive reputational and financial damages she had caused. The class action lawsuit from the ex-boss and her other victims was the final nail in her coffin. I heard that the pressure became too much. She tried to kill herself multiple times in the hospital and was eventually transferred to a psychiatric ward for involuntary commitment. After the verdict, I received the $1.5 million. To pay me, Chloe and Ryan sold their condo and their cars. Even then, they were still short. They came to find me one last time. It was a rainy day. They were soaked to the bone, kneeling at my apartment door. Ethan, please. We know we were wrong, Ryan begged, banging his head on the floor until his forehead was bruised and bleeding. We're begging you, have mercy. Let us pay the rest in installments, please. We have nothing left. The baby's medical bills are astronomical every day. The baby's medical bills? I cut him off and laughed. Who's responsible for your child's condition? It was you. The two of you, so desperate to scam the platform for a payday that you deliberately delayed getting him the help he needed. You destroyed his life with your own two hands. And now you want to use his medical bills to make me feel sorry for you? Ryan, Chloe, you don't deserve to be parents. I looked at them and remembered that night during the hurricane, remembered their ugly, snarling faces outside my door. I shook my head. No installments. You will pay the court-ordered judgment in full. Every last cent. If you don't, I will have the court garnish your wages and seize your assets until you do. 11. The criminal trial for Ryan and Chloe was swift. With irrefutable evidence and the case's high profile, Ryan, as the mastermind, was found guilty of perjury and conspiracy to commit fraud. He was sentenced to 3 years in state prison. Chloe, as an accomplice, and given her status as the caregiver for a severely ill infant, was sentenced to 1 year in prison, suspended for 2 years of probation. The day of the sentencing, Chloe collapsed in tears outside the courtroom. As the bailiffs led Ryan away, he didn't even look at her. To pay off the rest of what she owed me and their other debts, Chloe sold the last of her jewelry and was evicted from her apartment. Someone saw her in the low-income housing projects on the other side of town. She was alone, pushing a stroller. Inside lay the baby, trapped in a vegetative state. That child became her life sentence. That was her karma. As for me, after I received the final payment, I left Miami. A year later, the ex-boss who helped me sent me a postcard. He had won his lawsuit against Sharon Croft and the network. A massive victory. He not only recovered all the financial losses from his bankrupted company, but was also awarded a huge sum for punitive damages. He used the money to start over. His new company was even bigger than the last one. On the back of the postcard, he had written a single sentence. Ethan, thank you. You gave those of us who have walked through darkness a chance to see the sun again. I looked at the words and smiled. I guess neither of us was a hero. We were just ordinary people who, when faced with total despair, fought with everything we had to win a sliver of hope, for ourselves and for anyone else who might one day walk in our shoes.